Star, a president, and a special friendship that's helped save lives.
Ahead of World AIDS Day tomorrow, the White House announcing that President Trump will soon sign legislation providing more funding for the fight against AIDS in Africa.
It'll extend PEPFAR, that's the president's emergency plan for AIDS that was launched by President Bush in 2003. And Jenna sat down with a man who helped convince her dad to make it happen. YouTube's Bono.
I know.
Hi.
Big deal, Bono. So when my dad became friends with Bono, they were one of the oddest couples in politics. Now, 15 years later, the initiative they both care so deeply about is credited with saving more than 16 million lives.
This is one of the most heroic chapters in the history of America. It's like a moonshot to me. I mean, it's right up there with the space program.
If you want to see what changing the world looks like, check out the faces of these children in Malawi.
You're a happy baby.
Or meet Pepsi, the cheerful nurse who has spent a lifetime making the rounds in this busy health clinic.
20 years ago, would you have been laughing to me like this?
No.
Would you
I would have been sad.
That's because back then, this is what she saw. The desperation and hopelessness of a continent plagued by the AIDS virus.
You realize it's just an accident of geography. It's just where you were born deciding whether you live or die. Because if you had that problem here in New York, you lived, you got the pills. If you lived in Lilongwe in Malawi, you died.
Do you remember the first time you met my dad?
Yeah, well, you didn't want to see me. Which is fair enough. We different political views and whatever. I was the guy who had to come into the office and get him to look up from his big oak table there in the Oval Office to let his values tell him what to do. And I don't know if it's a Texas thing, but your father felt the weight of responsibility presiding over this, the greatest health crisis in 600 years.
Seldom has history offered a greater opportunity to do so much for so many.
I remember that moment when your father finally committed to this. He promised in the State of the Union speech that he'd get those drugs on bicycles, on motorcycles, however it took, he would get them there. It was a ridiculous idea in some quarters. How are you going to do this? These complicated medicines.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay. But in Malawi, I met with a room full of HIV-positive mothers. Thanks to PEPFAR and a 20-cent-a-day medication,
All of your babies were born without HIV.
when you tell a mother that her baby is HIV negative, what reaction do you get?
They start dancing.
They dance?
Yeah, they dance. That, oh, my baby now is free.
See that joy and the defiance in her big laugh. That gives me hope, finally.
My dad actually said that without you, PEPFAR would never have happened.
I think we got to cut through the shenanigans of political cartooning and see that some people can have different views and still be principled people. I told him it was hunting and fishing weekly. But if you look at his face, I think he thinks it's people's sexiest man alive.
I saw a picture that my dad posted of you all at the ranch, and it's such an odd couple.
I've had this kind of comedic relationship with your father. We were riding in the motorcade. People were waving from the side of the road. And I said to him, pretty popular. I didn't think you were this popular, Mr. President. He said, when I first came here, they used to wave at me with one finger. And
That was a good impersonation, by the way.
Was that good?
That was pretty good.
I become very fond of him. It's funny because underneath his armor, there's passion, compassion. He has it.
What would you say to people that said, oh, we've already paid billions, we need to worry about us over here?
I know the people whose lives will be lost to this. I know the health workers who will have their lives turned upside down watching the waste of human potential. It's less than 0.5% of the government budget that fights poverty overseas. Less than 0.5%.
You played music forever. How does this work compare to that work?
It's not like I do the art and then do the activism. It's all the same. Being able to make my celebrity, and I can't stand the word, useful. Outside of you two, my family is the thing I'm most proud of. And I know he feels similar. So we are bound together, whether he likes it or not.
Or you like it or not.
Or I like it or not. I hope Americans this World AIDS Day remember what you can achieve when you work with people you don't agree with.
That's fun.
That was
so fun together to watch this.
You know, it's so interesting because they may seem completely different,
Yeah.
but their work together has done so much. And he said, you don't have to agree on everything, but if you agree on one thing passionately enough,
Yeah.
you can be tied to somebody forever.
That's the greatest life lesson. That was awesome.
And I got to spend time with Bono. Hello.
That's the second greatest life for you.
Bono and my dad say they will continue to fight against AIDS. A particular concern, women are twice as likely to be infected in parts of Africa. And Bono says we've come a really long way, but we have to keep fighting.
Well, you said it was like 23 cents. It's almost, it's like nothing. It's
Yeah.
like change, and it changes somebody's life.
It's incredible, the work that they've
Your
done.
work in Africa, by the way, was quite eye-opening.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking us there.
Thanks, Jenna. All right, we're going to head down to Allen, Florida for a check of the weather.